Okay, so this is Queen West podcast number 2, and we're here today with Dave Harris, partner at the Tax Mechanic and longtime friend. And so, Dave, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, Fraser. How are you?
Very good. So, why don't you tell the audience about your origin story and how you ended up here?
Yeah, well, it's we go back a number of years, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Started back when I was in the construction industry. I was an operations manager of a construction company and ran into a whole pile of tax issues, both personally and professionally. And along comes Fraser through the door one day, and he ended up becoming our external accountant. And really liked the way he operated. Helped us through a variety of different situations that we were dealing with at the time. The CRA was after construction businesses, so we were audited and had to go to tax court and appeals and all sorts of great stuff. And I was also unfortunately working with an accountant at the time that wasn't exactly the best of accountants. Had a few issues. Ended up having an $83,000 tax bill myself, which I was dealing with at the time. Anyway, Fraser really helped us through a variety of different situations, and during that time, Fraser and I became good friends. I got actually Fraser into running. I'm a marathon runner. I also am the founder of a charity called Team Unbreakable, which we can talk about a little bit later. But anyway, we ended up becoming good friends. Really liked the way Fraser was operating and how we were working together, and decided after having enough of the construction business, I left, and Fraser and I talked about becoming partners and really taking Tax Mechanic to another level. So it's really been a great ride. We've got clients right across Canada, the U.S., Europe, and as far away as Hong Kong. And our main focus has been on helping Canadian taxpayers and businesses, wherever they are, with tax issues and problems. And that's where we've got our most job satisfaction from, sure. And really has taken us to working with a number of different companies, a number of different individuals and different walks of life right across the country, and it's really been a great ride.
Okay, and what take us a bit through your day and what you do at the Tax Mechanic, and as far as following up on leads, talking to prospects, people who have tax problems. What's your experience been?
Well, it's each day is completely different because I'm talking to people right across Canada, and these individuals are really dealing with a lot of serious problems, and we both know that it's difficult at times to even fathom some of the challenges that they face. So the day involves talking to at least 20 or 30 new prospects a day, if right across the country, different walks of life, different businesses, and situations ranging from I owe $200,000, or I haven't filed my tax returns in 10 years, or a whole myriad of issues. As you know, it's ongoing.
Okay, and how do you feel about the CRA collection policies? Because we're trying to make this push to change, the legislation and to implement some of the taxpayer ombudsman's recommendations
Yeah,
as far as, you get frontline experience of
oh
people
yeah,
calling you
yeah,
with, on a Friday afternoon and their bank account is
yep,
frozen and they've got a young family at home
yep,
and they're crying. And I
yep.
mean, really, how do you feel, first of all, about Revenue Canada having the power to arbitrarily, seize bank accounts, personal bank accounts, for
Yep.
example?
Yep.
How do you feel about
Well, I think of one story of a client that I spoke to, and they had a payment arrangement in place with CRA of $1,000 a month, and they're struggling, and they've got a lot of things personally going on in their lives that hampered their business, but they had this arrangement in place. The next thing you know, the payment arrangement is gone, their bank account is frozen, all deals are off. And collections, unfortunately, I can't imagine doing this job. I mean, talk about a negative environment,
Yeah.
and we see it all the time, and the movement in the collections offices across the country. I mean, there might be an individual that has a payment arrangement in place, and the next they've got a new supervisor that's put in place at CRA. They got a new collections officer, and sorry, yeah, that deal you had before, yeah, that's gone, and we want our money. Oh, yeah, your bank account's frozen, yeah, and they don't care, and you're just a number.
Yeah.
They don't think of you as an individual at all. And when we're talking to individuals, we really try hard to, if they're not in collections yet, is then we've got an opportunity. We've got an opportunity to work with somebody that perhaps in CRA is reasonable.
Yeah.
And but it is a real I really feel for these people. I mean, we deal with it every single day of individuals' lives and companies that are destroyed by collections, and they just don't get it. And it's very difficult. And you get people that are so intimidated by just even the process, in some cases, making phone calls after phone calls to find out what's going on, not getting any answers back, not having the tax knowledge to know what to do, being manipulated by collections. It's just an ongoing, it's a horror story and a nightmare for many of these individuals.
And I know you tell us a bit about your mental health background, your foundation in that,
Sure.
and how that relates to these people that you're talking to, and maybe a couple of the experiences I'm talking about that
Yeah.
were really quite serious. So
Yeah.
why don't you talk about that?
So, just going back a bit, I mean, I lost my son to suicide in 2005. So I was throwing in my choice into trying to do something about suicide awareness, and also to do something about the importance of physical health for mental health. I am a marathon runner, and it has helped me immensely. And our organization, originally called Cameron Helps and is now called Team Unbreakable, our focus is on teaching young people the importance of mental health, but also the importance of coping strategies. So we're working with kids all the time, and young adults all the time, who have a variety of different issues. Where it crosses over, the things that I'm doing in our business, is that you and I both know that we have to understand we are not accountants. We are two guys really that really believe in what we do and really want to help people. And we get individuals that are completely stressed out. They're suffering from, in many cases, terrible anxiety and depression. I think of one instance that I had recently where a gentleman had lost his stepfather to suicide. He was distraught. He was behind in his taxes. He was at the point where he wanted to end his life. And you're struck with this on the phone of what it is that you need to do. And fortunately, I was able to get in touch with a mental health professional within the area, and they were able to call him and hopefully help him out. But that's the extent of some of these individuals that we are dealing with. And it's attributed to a number of things. Lots of people out there, they just let their taxes go too long, and the life gets in the way. And I understand all those things, but they wait too long, and then their stress levels go up, and then they're not sleeping, and then it impacts many other things in their lives. Those coping strategies that they may have in place to help them are out the window. And we try, and we do have to do this every day. Yes, we're trying to help people, and yes, we're certainly trying to make a living here. But really, when it boils down to it, we're really trying to help people get their lives back.
And how important is it for someone to, because we do a lot of Facebook advertising,
Yeah.
try to get the message out there, but it seems like we're beating our head up against the wall sometimes.
Yeah.
How important is it to contact Revenue Canada before Revenue Canada contact you?
Oh God, we hear this all the time. Trying to tell people, and it's interesting when we get someone on the phone and we're talking to them about the sense of urgency. They've made the call to us to say they've got a tax problem, and then we work with them to develop a fee structure and to get things organized and what needs to get done. Now it's the action. Now it's taking that next step, which is let the professionals help you. Let us help you, then take it from there. You've made that initial step. It's a matter of taking that next step. And I don't have, it sound like a broken record, so I say this every single day when I get an individual that's ready to move and ready to move forward, and I say, okay, next few days, get the forms back to us, let's get going to make sure that we make that call.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people in that situation, right?
Yeah.
What do you think is I guess it's like anything else too, like, people know that they should, work out every day, that they should, eat properly and eat healthy. Why do you think people, like, they're calling you, they know that they have to fix the problem, but they don't go forward? What do you think is stopping them? Is it fear of Revenue Canada? Is it fear of looking judgment from society, their friends, or what do you think the issues are?
Well, I think it varies from client to client. There's a number of factors. I think some are just embarrassed, and
We hear that a lot.
and they've just got to the point. I can think of a person that I was talking to you about the other day, where she's behind on her taxes 10 years. She doesn't want to go to her parents to tell her parents, and she's a young woman and has a thriving business, but hasn't filed her taxes. And so there's the shame of that, of not acting on it. It's also the fear of what is owing, and they don't recognize that, that we're here to help them with that. Putting payment plans in place and working with CRA. And they are, many of them, I'd say probably 80% of the people that we talk to are just afraid of it. They really are.
And you hear this a lot too, is the fear of prosecution,
Oh yeah.
which I find that kind of feedback is interesting because I find, quite frankly, I find it surprising. But literally, we've had no prosecution, but I'd say 70% of our clients feel like prosecution is a possibility.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's not a possibility, really. Sure, it is a possibility, but we've not had anybody prosecuted.
Right.
They're very happy to. In fact, if we could just express to people, which we can't really get this message out too, is the relief people feel after they have filed and got caught up.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like, the proverbial taking out a tooth at the dentist's office. I wish I had done it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you say to these people that fear the prosecution?
Well, I try to put their mind at ease that, when they're working with us, they're working with tax professionals. So, we're in this game to help them, and so, leave it to us to deal with CRA on their behalf, and not be intimidated by CRA, because they've got, it's like being on a team, and we know even when we're training for a marathon, we've got people that are there to support us and encourage us and to work with us. And running a marathon is a massive undertaking,
I've done 9 now, thanks to you.
Yeah.
You just don't get up and wake up and do a marathon. And it's
That's right.
4-month process, the eating right, sleeping right,
That's
working
right.
out, schedule friends, go to the running room, and there's
Yep.
taxes is the same way. You can't do it by yourself. You need people like us and
Yeah.
people around you, and you should tell your family, and you should get over the judgment of
Yeah.
just people being afraid of the judgment of others. Who cares what they think?
That's
Just,
right.
you
That's
move
right. I
forward,
mean,
right?
and it's once they get that monkey off the back, and they get in a regimen where we say, okay, you've got your business back on track now. Let us help you. with ongoing support. Let us be your accountants.
Yeah.
Let us take that off your plate. Do what you do best.
Yeah.
And many people don't do that. They feel that they have to do everything. Yeah. And focus in on what you're good at and leave the rest to other people. So yeah, I understand life gets in the way, and I understand there's extenuating circumstances, and we hear some terrible stories, from divorces. We understand, marriages breaking up, obviously, and people in car accidents and health issues, and we've heard it all. I mean, I don't think there's any story. I mean, I say that, and then the next thing I know, we hear something else. But it's one of these things where people need to understand that we are here to help sincerely, and nothing gives us more gratification is when we can turn a life around.
Yeah. It feels good too, even though it's a job for us and all that, but
Yeah.
it really feels good when, we do help somebody at the end and we've made a change in someone's life. There's not many jobs where you do that. I guess, there are some, but we really feel that, and to get that financial burden off of a young family or say small business, or like all of them have their own reasons, but it is kind of a daunting thing to have, that on your shoulder every day.
You think about families, people that haven't filed in 10 years and they haven't got any child tax credits in 10 years.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're getting thousands of dollars back.
Yeah.
And
I want to just close with a couple things. One is, what do you say to I keep hearing this more and more now, is the construction subcontractors, because you get a background in construction, that are doing work for cash and not reporting income. What do you say to these people, given what you know about artificial intelligence, revenue Canada collection policies, their ability to do lifestyle audits where they look at your they literally go around and video your house and your car, and what do you say to these people that are off the grid and construction guys and what they should do?
Well, to put it bluntly, get your shit together. Because honestly, we've lived it for years, and I've certainly lived it for years, and see these subcontractors that just feel that they'll never catch me, and the next thing you know, they get caught.
They're caught, and at that point, it's hard because you can't do a VDP.
Yeah.
Because one of the conditions is that you have to it has to be voluntary. So if they come and catch you, and how with the GST and everything, we're all auditing each other. So once the general contractor gets audited, the subcontractor, who's this guy? We didn't see. We don't have him on our record. So let's go check out this guy. So
this guy works for you 40 hours a week, does he? He's been working for you for how long? 2 or 3 years? He's an employee. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You owe some taxes there, Mr. Contractor. I mean, we see it all the time.
Yeah, and with artificial, and with technology in general, they're getting better and better with it, right?
Yep.
So, just let's close with our empathy angle. How can we put people's, if you've got a situation like this and you're thinking about dealing with it, us versus say, a tax lawyer or a tax accountant, how does empathy play into how we deal with people?
Well, I think it comes down to, one major issue is that, and not sounding hokey or anything else, is you've got to have somebody that you're working with that cares about you, that sincerely does. And coming from our background in running and also just in what I do in my charity and everything else, that what makes sense to us is that if we can help a Canadian get themselves back on their feet and contribute to society and do good things for other people and all those things, what more can you ask for? I mean, it's what we like to do and what we want to do, and that is to help people. And so if we can do that in other ways, and we got to say too, both Fraser and I, when we're talking to individuals, you got two guys here that are experienced guys. We've been in the workforce for probably combined 80 years. So, we've got a lot of life skills and we've got a lot of business skills that we can share with individuals. And, that's what comes across, I think, when people do start working with us and get to know us, that we really are sincerely mean what we say, that we are here to help.
Okay, I think we'll end it there. And if you have a tax problem,
We can fix it.
all right, reach out to us. We'll help you. Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
You can find this, future and past podcasts, and other content we release on YouTube. We also have socials on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, which can be found in the comments below. If you liked our show today, please give us a like. Drop a comment below. If anyone wants to see us do something specific on our main channels, please comment below or DM me, and we will be able to hear what you have to say. In 2 weeks, we have another podcast coming your way. Keep an eye out for that. And if you want a reminder, hit that little bell icon next to the subscribe button, and you'll get it in your notifications right away. Until next time, that was the Queen West Podcast.
And that's the end of the podcast.